Let me remember. Hi, everyone. Good morning. It is so good to see everyone. What's your doggie's name again?
Ivy.
Hi, Ivy. It is so fun. So I'm Daniela Platt, and welcome. This is Looking Good with Daniela. This is my podcast platform. It is my fun way to actually get out there and really just say hi to awesome people and have amazing conversations. So I'm here today with somehow in this universe, when you want things and you go for it, things come your way. And I didn't even know this existed. But I one day took a phone call from Forbes Riley, who said, you should come in my book, One Habit for Entrepreneurial Success. And I was like, okay, sure. I said yes. And I even wrote a story. I said yes. And then I wrote a story about saying yes. And it led me to the awesome women who are on my screen right here today. So I am hosting, today is our third, I'll hold the book up, One Habit for Entrepreneurial Success mingle. And I'm super excited to just take advantage. There's things in the life that bring people from all sorts of spots in the world together. And we are all in different spots right now. So I thought it would be really fun to kind of just have a mingle, everybody share a little bit about themselves. And that's really what today's about. I just wanted to kind of share, like, for a second what the book is. So it's written by Steve Samuelis and co-authored by Steve Samuelis and Forbes Riley. 150 people shared 300 habits. And it is a game changer to really help people elevate and change their life from top entrepreneurs around the planet. It is a game changer waiting to happen. And the book is available on Amazon. So I'm super excited to be part of the book. And I thought we'd all introduce ourselves, and I'll go last. So you guys, who wants to chime in first? Should I pick? Raise your hand if you want to go first. All right, Mel, you go first.
Okay.
I didn't see that until afterwards. All right,
Hey,
Mel, you go
everyone.
first, and then we'll move to Dr.Kim.
Daniela, thanks so much for hosting these little get-togethers and getting to actually meet some of the authors in the book. What an amazing experience it is to just be a part of this compilation book and become a #1 bestseller. I am Mel Mason, the clutter expert, so I handle everything you need to know about clutter, whether it's your physical clutter, your mental clutter, your emotional clutter, and I specialize in helping you keep it from coming back, because one of the biggest problems is people go and get organized or clear an area out, and then what happens is weeks or months later, the clutter all returns. Well, there's a reason for that, and I specialize in helping you with that.
Oh, let it go. Dr. Martin.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me. I have a clinic in Winnetka, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. And I help patients because of COVID actually, being able to help them online with an online platform. So I could do blood work or different types of samples, whether it's stool, saliva, that kind of thing. And I'm able to help people all over the world.
Wow, you could do that remotely. That's unbelievable.
Yes.
That
Probably
is
a godsend. Let's put it that way.
Oh, wow. And Hindy, where are you, and tell us about you?
Okay, so my name is Hindy, and I'm in Fort Lauderdale. And for over 25 years, I've been a master of the art of feng shui and energy clearing. So originally, going back, we always used to have to do these things in person. But over the last probably 5-6 years, working remotely has been amazing. And so I help people to clear the energy of their space so that they can live a more productive life. And actually, it was really interesting thinking about what Mel does, because I suggest to them that they need to do clutter clearing, and that the effect of their clutter, their home is a reflection of what's going on in their life. So if they don't clear the clutter, I mean, they're going to be stuck. But even once they clear the clutter, sometimes they're still stuck. And that's where I come in, Mel. And I do energy clearing for them. And I do it remotely. So that helps to support them so that they can stay in the right energy space to keep their place, clutter free. So what we should talk.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, one of the things I tell my clients all the time is the outside is just a mirror of the inside. And if you don't address what's going on inside, the outside will never stay changed. You have to do the inside first to make the change last.
Perfect. Absolutely.
This is a great example of OPP. See, you can come together and help more people. I love it.
Absolutely.
I know. I'm thinking like that's the purpose of a mingle. Look at that. That's incredible. Well, I'm Daniela Platt, and thank you guys for coming. Daniela Platt, Looking Good with Daniela Platt. Looking Good with Daniela Platt has always been the name of my communications and marketing firm. For almost 2 decades, I've just been a creative, so it's been a natural progression that I went out into the world of advertising and fashion. I built brands that might be in your closet. Maybe you wear them like Hugo Boss or Skechers. And because I'm just such a person who loves creativity, I now work with innovators, entrepreneurs. I help develop branded and promotional apparel. So you can pretty much take your art and your heart and your message into the world. So if you're thinking tops or socks, I'm your girl. So that's what I do. And it's really turning your clients, on one hand, you're turning your clients into billboards. On the other hand, you're just making them love you for life. In fact, I'm working with somebody from OPP, and we just developed like a collection. We're going to release the name later today, but it's really about going big and bold. This is our scarf that we launched the other day. And we just want to help people take their message and their energy and live big in the world. And I wrote a book too. So this became a bestseller. It's called Looking Good, The 10 Commandments to be a Sales Rock Star and Fashion Startup Playbook. I wrote this book. It became a bestseller in June. The reason I wrote it was because 2 things were always happening. People were saying to me, hey, how did you land that appointment with that client? Or, hey, I want to have a apparel line. How do I begin? I just wanted to be able to pass on the information to other people. So I wrote a book. So when it comes to apparel or sales, I'm out here helping people, activate their dreams. That is what I love to do. And it is so wonderful. I'm looking at my screen right now. I'm like, where is everybody? It's so wonderful to meet everybody. I'd love if we can go around, if everybody wants to share like either one new habit that they have in life that really like it's in their toolkit and it really helps you thrive, or some wisdom you want to share, and where can people find you? If you want to go around again. Let me go back to the gallery view. We can go this time, since I didn't catch you first, Dr. Martin. Well, you could start first. Just a habit or a piece of wisdom, and where can people find you?
Definitely. The name of my clinic is North Shore Health Solutions. And I'm coming up with a podcast that's called Health Solutions with Dr. Kim. So right now you can find me from northshorehealthsolutions.com. And like I said, I'm able to help people online remotely. And I have patients that are in different countries, in Jordan and in different parts of Europe, as well as Canada and United States. A habit for me is one of the big ones that I pride myself and have to learn all the time is active listening. And so that for me is something that, sometimes when we need it the most, that's the one thing that we want to be helping other people with. So
I kind of want to chime in and joke, like, what did you just say? I'm kidding. I was actively listening.
I got it.
You got it. But that is really true. And I think that's something, especially we all are going so quickly in life. Sometimes we miss really important things, and take a breath and pay attention, because otherwise you miss things. And being present. Thank you so much for sharing. Mel, what is some wisdom that you want to impart with us, and where can people find you?
Yeah, absolutely. The information that I always love to share with people is that, first of all, people when they think of clutter, they automatically think of the physical clutter, and they want to do something about the physical clutter. But what they don't realize is that clutter accumulates because of, quite frankly, and this is going to be blunt, but it's our unwillingness to go back to presence, be present with it, and actually look at it and do something about it. And that unwillingness to look at what's going on outside of us is a mirror reflection of our unwillingness to look within. And so the first thing that I always teach my clients is allowing the now. It's a process that I use with my clients, and it's simply just teaching them to become present in the moment with themselves without any judgment, just holding space and loving yourself and meeting yourself exactly where you are and being present in the moment. And from that space of presence, what the magic is the minute that you can be present with yourself for even just a moment, you begin to make space inside of yourself. And because the outside mirrors the inside, the more space you make inside, the more space has to happen outside. So you'll spontaneously start to go through the things that have accumulated in your life, and the outside space will have to start to match the inside space. So anybody, if you just do this one thing in life and start taking 5 minutes a day to bring your presence to your life, you won't need my services anymore. But you can find me at info@decluttering-spaces.com is my email, but you can find everything at melmason.net. You can grab my free blueprint download. You can get access to my new book, Freedom from Clutter, that I just wrote recently working with Forbes Riley. And that's where you can access everything about me, melmason.net.
All right, melmason.net. And that's so interesting. But I hear Dr. Martin, you're talking about like being an active listener, and Mel, you just address that straight on, like just allow yourself to be present, and then you can take it on. So you both are just mingling so beautifully. And I'm practicing both of those myself all the time, reminding myself consciously to do that. Hindy, what is some wisdom or habit that you would like to share, and where can people find you?
So everything is energy. And what we don't realize sometimes is the energy in our space gets stuck, or the things that we have in our home reflects an old energy of who we were and not who we are today. So a very fast example is in feng shui. I walk with people, and we do this even remotely, around their home and look at the pictures they have hanging on the wall. All right. Everything says something. Everything makes a statement. Is it empowering or disempowering? Years ago, before my daughter got married, we painted the house, and I took down all my pictures. And then when I went to hang them up, I realized I had a lot of crying women. Well, I was going through a rough time, and I had a gingerbread boy that I loved in the kitchen. And it said, if he gives you any crap, you can bite his head off. And my ex-husband at the time, he was my husband still then, he said, Hindy, please don't hang that up. I said, why? It's so cute. Look at it. He's a cute little gingerbread boy. He said, yeah, but I don't like that if he gives you any crap. So what I would suggest to people is really walk around your home and see, let's talk about pictures. Let's start with that. Is what you are looking at a reflection of who you are today? I certainly am no longer a crying woman, so I would never want to have those pictures on the wall. But if I didn't take them off the wall to paint, I wouldn't have paid attention to the fact that they were on the wall. So that's really, for me, important to get people to connect that everything is energy. Yeah. Okay. And my pearl of wisdom besides that is, I just wanted to share very quickly, when Forbes talked about this book, I do have 3 or 4 journals, daily journals, The Art of Empowerment and The Art of Fulfillment. And if you go on Amazon, you can find my different journals. But my mom just passed away. She was 100. My dad was 98. He passed 2 years ago. Both my parents were Holocaust survivors. And the learning lesson I got, and I really want to share this, is my father used to say every day, this is how he survived, by saying tomorrow will be better than today, and the next day will be better still. If you lose money, you've lost nothing. But if you lose your hope, you've lost everything. So for me, that's the message that I live by. Mm-hmm. I know that as long as I have tomorrow and I've got my hope, I can do anything and everything.
It gave me chills. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to kind of delve into all of this. I also have an Eastern European background, my grandparents and so forth. I'm second generation American, so I completely understand where you're coming from, and removing those paintings from the wall is how it changed and affected your life. I have the chills. I absolutely have the chills. Lynda just popped on, but I just see your ceiling. Can we get your voice?
Am I here?
I see your ceiling, but I hear your voice.
My camera is so, oh, there we
There
go.
you are.
Hey, here's one thing
Hi,
about
lady.
entrepreneurs is we are persistent, right? Because like I had to shut down my computer and do everything all over again. And it took 20 minutes, but I'm here.
You are here. And I think that that is the story and the moral of life in a way too. Like you say yes to everything, you and just to kind of catch you up, which you could catch the replay, but you become present. This is your energy. You're determined to make it. You're going to, clear out all the other things. You are here. I'm going to give you the floor then. Welcome to my show. Looking Good with Daniela. And I know you and I have been talking. You are actually a huge inspiration to the One Habit book from the get-go. So I want to kind of just give you the moment to introduce yourself and what you do, and truly a mingle. So just, go for it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. First of all, I finally got my books in the mail. It took them a while to get here because of COVID. It's unfortunate. We're at the mercy, right, of whatever happens, and we just hang on and wait till it happens. But I was so excited when I got the book that I didn't even do an unboxing because I was doing a summit on Saturday and the books showed up. And I ran out there, I got the books and I just opened them up in front of my group. So, but anyway, it's awesome to be part of this project because, habits really are what shape us, and whether they're good habits or bad habits. And actually the unhabit came from that. I was having a conversation with Steve Sambliss. I was the last author admitted into the first book. The One Habit of the Happiest Human People on the Planet or something like that. And as I was talking to him, I said, I have this group called Women Action Takers. How about if we do a book called One Habit for Women Action Takers? And he loved the idea of branching the book off into something else. So that was cool. So we went to, create that book, and literally we did a webinar, and I had I think it was like 60 people that showed up for that webinar, and 40 of them signed up for the book. And so it's like, we've got something here. This is really awesome. And then I said, you know what, Steve, I have a lot of bad habits that I shouldn't have. What if we also included an unhabit, something you shouldn't do? And he just loved that idea too. And so ran with that. Those are actually my favorite parts of all the books, is the unhabits, because I can resonate with way too many of them.
Right. Mine was like how to dress like a VIP without spending a lot of money. Like, how often do you come home with just too much stuff? We have to, exactly, Mel, to your point. So that's so great, Lynda. That is so amazing. Can you share any habits or wisdom that you want to put out in the world?
Yeah, one of the ones throughout my journey, like many of us, I was raised in a very abusive household, and it caused me to become a people pleaser and to have a lot of fears. So I spent the majority of my life in fear, and most of my fears were like the fear of judgment. What are people going to think of me? What are people going to say about me? Those are kind of the things that really drove me nuts, So because of that, it caused me to just spiral down and hide behind anything. I just would hide. And it was when I was 51 years old that I hired a life coach. And my life coach helped me to see, first of all, that I actually have value. I never believed until I was 51 years old that I had any value on this planet. And I was driving to work one day, and I was just saying to myself, like, I don't have any value. Like, why am I here? This is so ridiculous. I was so mad at the world, and then I hired that life coach, and she helped me through all of that to discover this value that I have. And one of the things I started doing from that point forward, actually it was 2015, I faced a fear every single day because I realized I had so many fears. So I faced a fear every day for the whole year. And one of the things I started doing for myself to start to believe in myself and who I am is to pat myself on the back on a daily basis. So anytime I would do anything that was remotely good, yeah, exactly, all over the place, right? Anytime, just anything. It didn't matter what it was. Maybe it was, I drank a bottle of water today. Great job, Lynda. You're amazing. And I would say this to myself throughout the day constantly. And I needed this reinforcement of how good I am because I had already reinforced how bad I was for 51 years. And I got tired of reinforcing that negativity. And I realized that I was doing that. So I just started patting myself on the back, and like we edify others easily. I started edifying myself. Yes, I am amazing. Yes,
You
I
are
am
amazing.
brilliant. Yeah. And it's like, we think like it's conceited. Society has made us to believe that we have to, like, we just can't talk good about ourselves. Otherwise we're conceited. And that's a judgment. Once we stop judging ourselves, we will stop judging others. And that's what started happening is I was very judgmental myself. That's what I was. That was all I was, I was scared of what I was. And once I stopped judging myself, I started seeing more and more the beauty of other people too. So it really opened my eyes. That patting myself on the back, for me, that was like, I shouldn't say number one, because there's a lot of habits that I've adopted more recently that are positive habits, like getting up at 4:30 in the morning. That's a crazy one.
All right,
Yeah.
ladies, I have to run. Sorry, I have another appointment, but it's so great to mingle with you.
Bye,
Mel.
Mel.
See you later. That's so true. Celebrate every win.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I'm
Nobody
giving
else
you
is going to
pats
pat us on the back.
And
Yeah, everybody, let's all do a big pat on the back.
There we go.
on the back for everybody.
Pat on the back. Celebrate every win. That's an incredible realization that you went through.
Yeah, it really was. It was big because when you don't believe in yourself and you're constantly berating yourself and you're constantly putting yourself down, to make that mental shift, maybe you can do it on your own. I don't know. I couldn't. I didn't for 51 years. I tell you what, I hated my life coach for 5 months. We had this like love-hate relationship. I hated her on the day we met. And then by the time I met with her next week, I was like, I just love her. She's so amazing, because she really opened my eyes. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. I have no idea.
She pushed you out of your comfort zone, and now you hated that uncomfortable feeling, but it changed your life radically.
It really did. And by breaking through a fear every single day, what I realize is that we don't break through fears. We don't crush fears. We don't break out of our comfort zone. What we do is we enlarge the size of our comfort zone. So every time I break through a fear, all it did is it just kept on growing. And now my comfort zone is like, I'm more comfortable in my comfort zone. I'm more comfortable out of my comfort zone than I am in it, because it's exciting. It's exciting to break through fears. Oh my God, it's just become my thing. I just love it. It's so much fun.
Is there one thing that you do to remind yourself to bust through that fear, to go through that murky goop of vulnerability?
Yeah, definitely. And I think what is Mel Robbins or somebody, I think, has like the 5-second rule, or like I've heard about it. I haven't studied her. But so what I do is my mentor, Greg Reed, he's actually in the First One Habit book, and he's, mentor to mentors. And I was talking to him one day, and I don't remember exactly what was going on, but he goes, "You think too much," just like that. And I was like, "You're right. I spend too much time thinking about things and not doing." And this is actually how Women Action Takers was born. It was through those 4 words that he said. So what I do now is anytime I find myself starting to think or second guess myself, I say those words to myself, or I'll say them out loud sometimes. I say, "You think too much." I don't say I think too much, because I don't want to internalize it. So it's as if I'm talking to myself from the third person perspective. And I just say, "You think too much." And then I stop thinking, and I do immediately. It's like that. Totally changed everything I do.
You kind of got to get out of your own head to sort of bust through it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you shared that. And just to kind of bring it all together. So one of the things that I grew up in a small town just outside of Manhattan, and it was a Jewish town, and everything objectively is fine with it. But for some reason, I never quite fit in, and I never knew why I didn't fit in. I was just always a creative. So it was really natural when I got my first job in advertising, and I kind of went that creative route, but I never quite fit in. And I would hear other people being all braggadocious about their life and their career. And I just stayed really quiet, and I kind of just did my creative thing, but I would never tell anybody, "Oh my God, I could write a book." Like I would never even think to tell anybody. And to go with you on that was, so in the last few years, I became a mom, and I just said, I want to step out on my own ledge for the first time. And how do I do that? I never could share anything from a bragging perspective. And what I found was the opposite. The world wants to hear your win, and they want to celebrate you. They want leaders who are action takers, who move forward. you wrote a book? That's amazing. I want to write a book. I want to be a woman action leader. I want to, people just want to like join in with you on the rise up. So that is just incredible advice, and making a habit of it. I call it, my habit, I internalize it as saying, say yes. But I also sort of just try to make a habit of staying with happy people.
Yeah.
People who like lift you up and get you out of that comfort zone. Because if you're with happy people and you're out of your comfort zone, that fear just kind of, it kind of goes away, because no matter what you can do wrong, you're with happy people who are going to support you in whatever you're doing as you get out of your head.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because it was about 6 years ago, again, the time that I hired my life coaches, when it's just when everything shifted in my entire life. And my mom had lived a life of regrets. Like she told me 2 weeks before she died, Lynda, I lived my whole life with regrets. I didn't do things I wanted to do because my dad instilled a lot of fear in her, right? So she didn't live her life. So she goes, make sure you go out there and you live your life with no regrets. Now I heard it, but I didn't hear it yet. I didn't hear it until later. And I was at this event, I was putting on an event for nonprofits. And I got up there and I had my microphone. It was my first event that I had done in front of a group of people. There were like 25 people there. And I had my microphone and I'm all nervous, but I'm up there and I'm doing this thing. I'm going to put myself out there in front of people and actually say words out loud that people are going to hear, and I rattled off this, and I remember it because it stung me, and it stung me in like 2 different ways. I said, just want to share with you here that I'm going to spend the rest of my life having as much fun as possible, hanging out with positive and uplifting people who are making a positive impact on the planet. And I said that, and the first sting was, oh my God, that sounds so superficial. That was my first thought. And then my second thought was that, screw it, I don't care. It's my thing, And then after the event was over, so many of the people came over to me and said, I love your personal mission. That is so inspiring. And here I was thinking I was being braggadocious, so self-effacing, but people do, they get inspired when, we inspire people by sharing those things about ourselves. And guess what? Ever since then, I've been spending my life having as much fun as possible, hanging out with positive, uplifting people. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, exactly. You could do it. I could do it. Let's have fun. Oh my God, we could have fun. We could do it all. Oh my God, I'm so glad you shared all that.
Yeah.
Well, where can we find you? I know I can find you on Facebook, but like, if you want to share so where can we find you?
womenactiontakers.com. I'm Lynda with a Y at womenactiontakers.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I'm moving over to Pinterest. You're probably already over there because you're a creative. I'm not a creative. So I'm like, I'm going to take a dive over there and see what it's all about.
Yeah, let me know. I use Pinterest on projects like, oh, it's my wedding. Let me look Pinterest, or, oh, I need a quote. But I know it's actually really huge. It's actually really huge. So I'm curious you'll have to regroup with me on how it works, because I've never really walked that line. I'm an Instagram lover. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Since the pandemic, my Facebook has exploded. But I just love Instagram because it's so pretty. But Facebook is my thing. Everybody has a thing. Hindy, where can we find you? What's your thing?
You can find me on Facebook. I'm in LinkedIn as well. I just play with Instagram. I'm actually creative. I'm an interior decorator by profession. I did, years ago, I was on the Home Shopping Channel. I was selling indoor tabletop water fountains made out of gemstones for feng shui. Indoor tabletop water fountain.
I had a
So I do all kinds of weird things, but I just wanted to pop in, add to the fact that I'll go back to what I said before about everything having energy. I've been a volunteer with Tony Robbins for about 15 years. And at one of the events, what we do is we walk on hot coals. And when you walk on hot coals and you don't burn your feet, you have an anchor that tells you that everything is in the mind. If you decide that the coals are not hot, you don't burn your feet, right? If you change your focus, you will. So it's whatever our belief system is. So Lynda, by patting on the back every day and saying, yes, I'm, great job or beautiful or whatever it is, We just reinforce a belief system. So it's really just simple. It sounds simple, and it is. It's whatever our belief system is. The universe always says you're right. If you think life sucks, it sucks. You'll have a lot of reasons during the course of the day. If you think, life is full of miracles, God, it's amazing how many miracles come into your life that day, right? So everything is the energy of what we create. We can't look out there and point a finger, my mother, my father, my sister, whatever. It's up to us to shift. And once we decide we're going to shift, that's it.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I didn't realize I was creating something like that, right? By the physical motion of actually patting myself on the back. And so thanks for that, because it really does work. I mean, it's amazing. And I didn't have to walk on coals to do it. Thank goodness, because that kind of sounds a little scary to me.
Right.
But once you overcome the fear,
have...
it's the fear.
Yeah.
It's the fear of like you just said, it sounds a little scary. Can you imagine once you do it? It doesn't matter what the fear is, whatever the fear is, and you overcome it, what an anchor that is for you to know that that's it, right? You can always go back to your anchor.
Yeah, and they say interrogators, and a lot of interrogators don't actually physically harm the people they're interrogating, because it's the fear of what's going to happen that gets them to actually speak out, to tell on somebody. They're scared of something that they don't even know what it's going to be. So it's interesting. Thank you.
Hindy, you need to write your next book. It'd be Hope with Hindy.
Well, I started a not-for-profit called The Art of Empowerment because, I've been on this path a long time. I'm really blessed. I'm turning 72 this year.
Wow.
And thank you. I went through a divorce that I decided it was time when I was 50. I mean, I've done a lot of things. And in each stage of that, there was fear. I didn't just go la-di-da, here I am. But I just know that when we get past that fear, right, the sky is the limit. And I believe as women that have reached a point in our lives where we've accomplished things and done things, I just love helping other women and supporting other women and letting them know that, they're not alone. They can do it. So thank you for that, Dr. Kim.
You look amazing. I wouldn't have guessed anywhere near 70. What's your secret?
It's only a number. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. You can look old and decrepit at 40 too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all kind of, well, I'm just gonna, does anybody else have anything they'd like to share? Or I'm gonna kind of just like chime in and say, this was so fun. I'm back to the whole thing about fear. 12 months ago, we were all sneezing freely, right? We were all hanging out with our friends. We didn't have this, like, your Zoom house. Like, if I looked at you and said, like, hey, want to join my pandemic family? You're like, what are you talking about? So we didn't even think about it. We were sneezing freely. We were hanging out with our friends, and we didn't know one another. And it's really, really, not only it's incredible to connect with you, I mean, to what you guys were saying in the last year, I just busted through so much fear. If you told me a year ago today, you could have a book, you could be on stages, you're going to be meeting people all around the world, you're going to have a podcast, you're going to have a clothing line, I would look at you like, what are you talking about? Like, how is that even possible? Like, how is that even possible? And you bust through fear and you do things, and then things happen, and then you celebrate wins with, somebody said to me recently, the best way to be a millionaire is hang out with millionaires. Best way to be happy is hang out with happy people. Like, best way to bust through vulnerability is like do it with other people who have done it before you. So you guys are just incredible at leading the way. I'm so thankful that you guys shared all of this today. This was incredible. So thank you so much. Just everybody who's listening, I'm Daniela Platt, and I have 3 tips for anybody who wants to have an apparel line. You could get that at Daniela.today. And you could do that. You can either reach out to me, you can grab my 3 tips. I will love to help you. My mission is to my mission is like what you guys are saying, to live life like a VIP, to live life without regrets, to take your art and your heart and your mission in the world. And that you should, and I do it through branded apparel, because we're all above the keyboard, down at your toes. So I do, because I want people to feel great. And it's really, I wish I could give everybody here like a big huddle, but we can all give a good pat on the back. I really celebrate everybody's incredible wins today. Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
know, I'd love to offer to anybody, my book is called The Year of Fears, you know, because after I faced a fear every day, my mentor says, so you faced a fear every day, now what? And I'm like, what do you mean now what? I faced a fear every day. I think that's plenty, you know. He's like, no, you have to write a book because it will inspire and motivate people. And so I wrote The Year of Fears. So if you go to theyearoffears.com, there's a free download there if you want to get that book.
Awesome. What a good title.
Thank
What
you.
a great title.
These titles come to me, you know, titles come to us and we can either choose to do something with them or not. And I believe that all the titles, I'm working on some collaboration books myself as well. And I'll share one of the titles. I love this one. I was like driving and this came to me. It's called Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. And, you know, it's about women telling their story, because I was invisible. I felt invisible for 51 years. And now I'm like putting myself out there to make, you know, a big impact on the planet, and I'm doing it, you know? So this is inspiring stories from women that have gone through something that they're sharing their story.
Awesome.
I see you. I see you so bright and so
you.
powerful. And I like pat you on your back and I salute everybody. And the fact that you could even say that out loud is a unique concept, that people can share, that they feel invisible, that they share from their heart, their fears. I always looked at clothing as my mask. Like, that's how I have to show up and present this perfect image to the world, because that's what the world expects. But that's the Photoshop version. The world actually is broken. And when you can put your authentic self out there, people will resonate and respond to it. But I didn't know that you could do that. But by you sharing all this, I'm like, tell me more. Like, thank you for sharing that, because it gives permission to just love yourself, pat yourself on the back, be true to your authentic self, have the most fun in life, but know that, like, knowing that you're not perfect feels really like a sense of freedom to others. So thank you. I love that. So the yearoffears.com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
And think of that
Everybody-
song that Forbes wants us to, you know, do something with. I Love Me. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Oh,
you wanna do it right now?
No. I'm just saying that it comes full circle, where sometimes we don't give our bodies and our hearts the permission to allow to love yourself. So kind of like what Lynda was talking about and Hindy was talking about, you know, we can be moms, we can be sisters, we can be all those kind of people, we can be friends, but sometimes we forget us. And we have to love us before we're able to express. And I love what you're saying, Lynda. I'm gonna go check out your stuff.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Exciting. It's fun. It's fun to step into who you really are, you know? And the thing is that, like, I started my entrepreneurial journey 6 years ago. I was in corporate for 36 years. I had 49 jobs, you know, like, obviously I was not an employee type, but when I left the corporate world and jumped into entrepreneurship, I was changing, because facing a fear every day for a year, you change a lot. You know, it's like drastic changes if you allow it. And so because of that, I had a hard time figuring out what I was going to do for business, how I was going to make any money, because I was changing so much and growing and changing and growing. And, you know, finally I settled down about, you know, 6 months ago. It's like 5.5 years before I finally settled down to the one thing. And, you know, it's been an amazing journey, and it's nowhere near over. I don't know who I'm going to be in a week, let alone, they ask this question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I can only tell you today where I see myself in 5 years. Mm-hmm. Next year, ask me the same question, and it'll be a completely different place in 5 years, you know, because I'm learning and growing as I go. And you know, changing excites me. Change excites me big time.
Yeah, kind of like what Hindy was talking about with how everything is energy. And so are frequencies. I mean, just think the last time you went into somebody's office and you thought, oh, this is fantastic. I love the feel. I love the smell. I love all that stuff. And then you go some other place and you're thinking, yeah, okay, I don't feel so loved here, or I'm ready to leave, you know. There's something to be said too about aromatherapy when we talk about smells and where our comfort levels are. You know, when you close your eyes and you think, oh, I have wonderful smell of my grandmother making chocolate chip cookies, or whatever that particular thing is. And when you smell it, it just for a split second, it takes you back to that moment where you're happy, where you're like, yes. And then there might be another smell that you think, oh my goodness, I'm relating this to fear, or I'm relating this to something, an experience that I don't want to repeat. And but we all have choices. We want to be around the good smells, the good energies, and the good frequencies. So I know that has a lot to do with the feng shui stuff too, Hindy, is making sure that we
What do you do? What do you,
high.
Dr. Kim, what do you do to keep your office so vibrationally high? I can feel you.
If I did a tour of my office, people will say, are you Asian? No, I feel so comfortable with a higher vibration. And so all of my office space here, well, we can only see a couple things, but everything is Asian. I have jade all over. I have jade trees. Well, here, it's just different. You know what I mean? So for me, that's where I'm comfortable. I love water. I love plants. I love just, yeah. So when I was picking out this, I had this funny story, and then I'll be quiet. So I was picking out this office space, and it was vacant for 2.5, 3 years. And I was walking through, and I kept saying, oh my gosh, I see the vision. And people were looking at me like, this is horrible. It was purple floors or purple carpet, and it had been worn so much you could see where the majority of the walking was done. And then they had walls up that, I think the walls were originally white, but it had yellowed over time. And then one whole wall, one side of the building is all brick. And they're like, oh, you can paint that white. And I was like, no, I want the ambiance. You gotta get my vision. And they're like, I just don't see your vision. I was like, no, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of love here, and it's gonna be beautiful. So now I have people that didn't believe in the vision before coming and going, this is not the same office, or, oh my goodness, I love the feel. So it has to do, Hindy, and you can jump in. It has to do with the feel. It has to do with the vibration. And I'm all about the stones and making sure that what I'm feeling is got that high vibration. And the people I'm around, if I don't feel a nice vibration, I just mosey on.
Whatever you're doing, it's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was sitting here, and I can feel energy. So I'm an empath and, I'm a healer. And I'm sitting and I'm going, she's very quiet, but boy, her place is just oozing with high vibrational, loving energy. So
I'll give a video tour for you later. You'll see what I'm talking about. But it's I feel comfortable when I'm here. Sometimes if I wake up and I think, oh, what is this attitude? I can't wait to get to work and be happy.
Now you got to give us all a video tour, because the people watching are going to be like,
I'll be happy to do that. Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, what's on the other side? There's something
good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. I don't know how to read Japanese, but I have a lot of Japanese pictures, and they're all jade. And I know when I bought them, it had the same. But then when I went to pick them up, they took the words off. So I had no idea what it was. I thought, oh, it makes me feel good. And I know it's got to be something positive. So, yeah, I'm waiting for somebody who speaks Japanese to tell me what's aligning my walls over here.
Anybody here speak Japanese? Any of our listeners?
Pop in right now.
What you just said is so important, Kim. I've got, I don't know how many gemstones, and I'm a real stoneaholic, and I do custom fountains with gemstones. And there's all these books that you can read about stones, right? rose quartz is for love and citrine is for money and blah, 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 blah. And I always say, it's whatever it feels to you.
Right.
Who wrote the book? It was only a person, right? So it
Hold
doesn't
it.
matter what it says in Japanese. What's the interpretation?
The
It
whole
feels
question-
right. That's it.
You know, it was interesting what you were saying there, Dr. Kim, because my husband and I, we were looking for a place to live. And he likes this particular area of town. I'm in San Diego. So he likes this particular area of town. And I get this icky feeling every time I drive into that area. And I just kept in my mind saying, I don't want to live here. I don't want, like, I didn't tell him yet, because he wanted to live there so bad. And then just finally one day I said, I'm not living here. I'm not going to drive because I feel like crap every time we drive in there.
Mhm.
And he's like, okay, well, where are we going to live? And I said, well, let's decide together a place that we both love, that when we both drive into it, we both love it. And that's where we are now. We ended up in a place that we both love. But
Perfect.
I was not going to back down on that because of there's just too much negative energy in that area for me. Isn't that interesting? He doesn't feel it at all, but I feel like it's overwhelming.
I think we all have that ability to feel, but sometimes we've closed that off as we've gotten older because we were told not to do that, because we were told to follow and be a sheep and not have our own opinion. And I remember driving around with the real estate agent, and he would drive up and I'd say, nope, nope, nope. And he'd say, what's wrong with this one? And I'd say, it's a feeling, it's a feeling, it's a feeling. You don't get it. And he'd say, well, it's everything you're asking for. I said, no, it's a feeling. And then he'd say, is that just with women? And I said, well, it's mostly women because we allow ourselves to be, because we're the one raising children, and we have to have more empathy and sympathy and everything else. And I'm like, it's a feeling. It's kind of like when I smell my food, I want a positive feeling. We were talking about this yesterday, about different ambiance of food. Now with a pandemic, you can't go to a restaurant here. I don't know how it is where you guys are, but we're on lockdown again here in Chicago. And so they said, everybody should have a virtual Thanksgiving. I thought, a virtual Thanksgiving? What? But it has to do with when I like sushi. If you like sushi, there's the whole presentation, and you're looking at this beautiful place where you eat, and then how they present the food. I don't know if you guys like sushi or not, but it has to do with the whole thing about what it looks like, what it smells like, how you're going to be doing it. Okay, let's go with chocolate cake. Everybody likes chocolate cake. So when you look at the chocolate cake and you're like, this is going to taste so good and it's going to be creamy, and you have this mental picture on how it's going to taste, right? How many times will we put something in our mouth and you're like, it doesn't taste the way I thought, or it tastes better than I thought, or it looked horrible, but it tastes, you know what I mean? We have to get so in tune to what we are feeling from that whole thing, whether it's a food or a pet. I love your pet, Hindy. I have four dogs at home, and it's just love it, love it, love it. So
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. We rescued her.
Aw.
she's with her mama.
Yes.
It is really true. And actually, it's kind of interesting that you say that, because when we were deciding, so Inga and I were launching this, like, we're starting off with scarves, but it actually, like, the whole concept of, like, what is the artwork comes from, like, what's our toolkit? Not that we're creative or artists, but what is it that inspires to create? Like, you need to be surrounded by this certain, you need to be surrounded by, like, this certain, like, environment. Like, you have your Jade and your Japanese writing, or you have your puppies, or, Lynda, like, whatever it is. Like, it's not about the work that you're doing. It's you need to be surrounded by things that give you that energy to activate that high frequency. So if you're like, you're patting yourself on your back, or you have something specific on the wall, or sometimes, like, we created the scarf, but, like, sometimes people have a necklace or a gem, like something that just reminds you or quickly takes you up to that frequency is, like, really important to have. And I mean, I like the pat on the back because you always have it with you, right? Like, you always know that you could, if I see you walking around, I'm like, I know what you're doing. Like, you get it. But we all need things around us that take you to the higher frequency. It's so true. I'm so glad we bonded on that.
And that's an interesting thought there too, because this background that I have, this is one of those it's a 4-panel screen. And I got it because my husband and I shared an office space, and he you had his computer and stuff. So I was like, I need to have something that covers us, when I'm doing videos. And so I got this screen because it was like $65 at Target, and I didn't know what else to get at the time. And then I ended up moving it to the next place we went, and then the next place we went, because we move a lot. And this thing just kept following me around, and finally got to the point where I was like, I want to get rid of it. I want to do something different. But what happened is a lot of people were commenting on it. They're like, I really like your background. That's awesome. And so I learned to love it. So that's what I was kind of getting at, because my energy behind this was, it's a thing to hide something. Like I had in my mind, it was like a negative kind of thing, but so many people have commented on it in a positive way that I've learned to love it. And it's become my badge, It's kind of funny how we can move into that. We're not stuck wherever we are, I guess is what I was kind of trying to say there.
Yeah, no, it's very activating and alive. So you kind of embody that. Like the switch goes on and people resonate and connect with it. You guys, well, it was a real treat. Thank you so much for coming on like an hour. So while I could mingle with everyone all day, I just want to thank you guys. This is a real treat. We're literally bound together for life in the book One Habit. So thank you for, I know, and I'm slowly reading everyone. This is a real treat. So everybody, you guys, I'm going to post this on Facebook, and then it will be on like Anchor and YouTube. So just in the chat, everybody, you guys could just like drop your contact information where people can find you. I really love meeting you. There is nothing greater than connecting with people and elevating and, feeling your vibration and seeing what's going on with you. There is absolutely nothing greater. Okay, Lynda, I'll put that in the Facebook chat as well. And Dr. Martin, you look you're about to like pipe in with something as you're leaning forward. Okay.
No, I had to pick up mine.
Oh, you had to pick up your keyboard. So I'm Daniela Platt. You can find me at Daniela Today. I just want to take everybody's art and heart into the world. Thank you guys so much. Should I close this out with our Megan Trainor song, since you mentioned that earlier?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear it? So funny. Wait,